segment will be more and more important in the future. So that's why we conducted this research. In this research, we want to study the mature segments about their preference preference on food and behavior of food purchasing, so that I hope this research can give all of you some insights or may sparkle some ideas for your future marketing strategy. We conducted this research in August to September this year. In the first part, we have conducted a survey with 500 people by a street intercept method. Yeah, we targeted respondents who are aged over 60 years old and with a monthly household income of 50,000 Hong Kong dollars. To make sure the samples are representative to Hong Kong population, we have collected these samples to conduct interview in 22 different locations covering Hong Kong Island, Kowloon, and New Territories. We have recorded the spending and the numbers an exact item that the respondent has really bought in the survey day. Yeah, and we have also measured about their attitudes, their behavior, yeah, of food purchasing. So each for each interview, it lasts for about 15 minutes. After the survey, we have also conducted 2 focus group discussions in our office. Yeah. We have conducted 2 focus groups, and in each focus group, we have invited 4 participants, yeah, who has also aged over 16 and have high monthly household incomes. We have discussed the issues about the spending and buying purchase behavior for about 90 minutes in each group. Yeah. Then after we have conducted the data collection part, we have also conducted some desk research that can help us to understand the findings and help us to assess the market size of the mature, well-off consumers in Hong Kong. Yeah, these are the areas of investigation in our survey and focus group, mainly about their purchase and spending on food, their attitude and the behavior about food, how they select their food, and how they feel about the U.S. food, any advantage and disadvantage for purchasing U.S. food. Yeah, and in terms of behavior, we have asked the purchase frequency, where they buy it, where they receive the information, and would they adopt the U.S. food in different kinds of cuisine, and whether they would cook U.S. food by themselves. From this input, we can assess the market size. We can assess the product that with the best prospect in the future, and also provide some insights for the marketing strategy. Yeah, I will combine the findings of the quantitative, that means the survey, and the focus group discussion to present the findings. And it will comprise of the following sections. So for the size, and the first time we estimate the market size and spending of the mature well-off segment in Hong Kong. Yeah, the size of the target consumers shares 4.5% of the population, and This is a number we requested from the census department. Yeah, actually, they do not have in the available publication. There's no direct figure of this size of population, and we asked the Hong Kong Census Department to draw customer data, so that we know that this population comprises of 4.5% of the overall populations in Hong Kong. And from our study, we have projected the size of this market is 13.245 billion Hong Kong dollars. In other words, it is 1.698 billion US dollars. It shared 13.4% of Hong Kong food and beverage sales in Hong Kong. And for each food purchaser, they spend 4,700 Hong Kong dollars per month for their food spending. Yeah, and actually, we have also analyzed the spending by different income group. And for high income groups, the spending for the food purchase is much higher. It's reached 7,200 Hong Kong dollars per month. Yeah, so now we know these people spending a lot on food. So what are their characteristics and their values and behavior? Yeah. About their backgrounds, actually, majority of these consumers were already retired, but there are still 17.8% of them are still working. Among them, they work in a high-profile position, like manager, directors, something like that. And actually, nearly half of the working population were in manager or above position. So in the focus group, we have further deep dive in their values and their behaviors of food purchase. We find that many of them are actually key persons of food purchase. That means they always share their food with their family members, and in some occasions they even buy the food on behalf of their family members. So they, when they purchase the foods, they will also consider the food safety and health issue for their family as well. And they, even though they are in elderly age, they are not conservative to new products. It's because the first thing is that they are quite well off. Yeah, they have money to spend, and actually they have much experience about traveling and even live in other countries. Yeah, so this group of people very welcomes new ideas and new products, and this is can be best described by the verbatim we capture in the focus group. Yeah, someone say they are already old now, so they should eat as they can eat. So why not they try new things that they can afford? That's what they have said in the focus group. Next, these people is put high concern on health and food safety. In the survey, we have asked the criteria for food selection, and food safety ranks the highest importance. From the focus group, we know that some of the participants has already suffering from some chronic illness such as diabetes and high blood pressure. So they have already adopted a healthy style of diet. Yeah, these people cook vegetables and fish and beef in all their dining when they dine at home. Yeah, and they are maintaining a very balanced diet. And because they put high concern on health and food and safety, they are very sensitive to the news about food, and they concern the nutritious values of the food ingredients. Yet, in the survey day, we have recorded all the items that they have bought in their plastic bag, in their basket. And we have counted, we have recorded all the spending and other information such as countries of origins, brands, information, and after that we process the data and find that on average they have spent 260 Hong Kong dollars on that day, and analyzed by subgroup, much higher spending was captured among the higher spending group. Then we analyzed the spending by different types of food. Yeah, and from that analysis, we find that most of their spending, not most of the, actually, about a quarter of the spending was on fish and seafood. It is ranked at the top, and for the second one is pork, and the third one was fruit, and then vegetable, beef, poultry, food preps such as pasta, cereal, or soup, and then wine and beer, and then dry seafood and cereal.
Everything all right, huh? Okay.
Hello?
People summarize 嗰啲嘢咧，就係要嗰啲㗎，係嘛？嗰啲係咪有嘅？
Everyone, please check and make sure they're on mute. We're hearing a lot of background noise. Could someone please check if they're on mute? We're hearing a lot of background noise. Thank you. Yes, hello. Somebody, if they could please mute themselves.
Okay. 佢係追緊我，佢話呢啲係咪要咩？你叫個仔打過嚟啊？咁樣啊嘛，咁我而家 OK。
John, could you please mute yourself? Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, so everybody can still see the slide.
嗰種 language 就 OK， 我 send 俾佢先啦嚇 ，OK， 咁係咁先嚇，可能媽咪可能會有 call 你嘅。佢問我嘛，話呢啲。
Okay, should I continue now? Okay. Yeah. Can everybody still hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah.
Excuse me, we cannot see the screen.
Yeah. You cannot see the screen, right? You cannot see the screen.
No.
Can't see the screen either.
Let me share again. Okay. Okay, so I continue the presentation now. We talk about the spending. Yes. So a quarter of spending was on fish and seafood. Yeah, and yeah, the percentage of totals to the total spending has listed in the second column, and in the third column, that we also analyzed the numbers of item purchased.
Derek, excuse me, Derek.
Hi, hello.
I
can see the screen.
Okay, full screen.
No, we can't. I can't see the screen at all.
You can't see the screen at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me share it again.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry for that. Okay, I shared it again. Can you see that?
No, I can't. We'll try and figure out some way to help, and maybe we share from our side. Okay, everyone, just give us one moment. We're going to share it from our side. Maybe that's easier. Thanks.
Okay, share it from your side. Okay.
Derek, do you want to kind of keep talking through it, and then we'll catch up as soon as we get the presentation loaded?
Okay, I should carry on now.
Yeah, and then we'll catch up. Sorry about this.
Without the slide, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I've talked about the number of item purchased per consumer, and we find that each consumer has purchased more 1.07 items. In each consumer. That means every purchaser have buy more than one items of vegetables every day. It is key necessary items. And the next one is fish and seafood. The number is 0.69 item. That means about 2/3 of purchaser have purchased fish and seafood in the purchase. The third one is fresh fruit, 0.57, and the fourth one is pork and pork products, 0.4 items. So these are the key products purchased by the consumers. And we also have analyze the spending by different income subgroups. Then we also find that in the highest subgroup by incomes, in the higher subgroups, people have spent significantly more money on fish and seafood, fresh fruit, beef and beef products, wine and beer, and dried seafood. These 5 items is sensitive to the increasing incomes. And on the other hand, for pork, vegetables, poultry, food preps, and cereals, these 5 items are less sensitive to the increasing income. Could you turn to next slide? Next slide, yes. Yes, the numbers in the red bracket represent the much higher incomes that was spent by the much well-off groups. These 5 items are more sensitive to increasing incomes. So it may imply a good opportunity for the luxury items about these categories. So next slide, please. And about the perception of U.S. food, generally people perceive U.S. products are high in quality and value for money. Yeah, it rank the third and fourth, which is a similar level to Australia and New Zealand. And about the spending, the people have spent about 7.7% of spending on food imported from US. Next. We also asked the preferred types of US food in the survey, and the top top preference was a beef and beef product, then fresh fruit, then nuts, eggs, and porks and pork products, etc. Next. With the survey data on their preferences of US food and their spending, we have plotted this graph in 2 dimensions. And from this graph, we assess the prospect of the different kinds of food for the mature markets, for the mature markets in the future. And we should pay special attention to the top right-hand quadrant. Yet in this quadrant, it includes the food that has been spent at the highest amount by the consumer, and it is preferred by by them. And yes, first, let me talk about the beef products and fresh fruits. Please press the button. Yeah. Yeah, these 2 items are already well accepted by the consumers, and it already have well established in the markets. And although there is some shortcoming mentioned by the consumers, these are not major shortcomings. Yeah, many consumer mentioned U.S. beef are in good texture and have a very heavy beef flavor, and there are still a small proportion of people concerned about the quarantine procedure, and to make sure this they want to make sure this beef are safe to buy. And for fresh fruit, the people regard the fruit are natural and organic, and although it is a daily, especially orange, they are daily necessities for the consumers. That's why some people mention it is not easy to buy U.S. orange. Maybe some, in some places they usually sold out, so they cannot buy the oranges. And for these 2 kinds of food, because they are very well established in the market, and their spending is quite sensitive to the income, so there's some opportunity for the high-end variations for these 2 kinds of products. So please, next slide. And for pork products, people are also spending high amounts, but the current share of U.S. pork was still low in the market. Some people mention it is not easy to find U.S. pork in the market, yet they still regard U.S. pork good quality. So they have intention to purchase. And in the focus group, there was some respondents also mentioned as the Chinese pork has been expensive recently. They have intention to try pork produce from other markets. So, yeah, the operators can consider to expand the share of U.S. pork in Hong Kong. Next, please. For the poultry products, many respondents appreciate it usually sold in very large portion. They said the chicken wings and legs are very big in size. But some of them also concerns about the safety. They thought the poultry, U.S. poultry were injected with hormones so they can be grown so big. And the taste and texture of U.S. poultry is different from other country. It was tend to be lighter in taste. So for these types of product, they are expecting a firmer texture on the poultry meat, and they are expecting a stronger taste. And it is we suggest the operators can introduce some recipe that is suitable for the U.S. poultry products. Yeah, so to help them to adopt the poultry products in the diet. And about the fresh vegetables, people also spending high amounts for vegetables, but some consumer express the types of vegetable may not be very quite suitable for their food and beverage habits, as some of most of these imported vegetables are expected to be consumed in raw without cooking, and for this elderly consumer, they usually consume the vegetables and for cooking. So yeah, it is suggests the U.S. The importer may consider to introduce new variety of vegetables that would be suitable for people these people's diet, and if they can emphasize these vegetables are grown in organic environment and method, yeah, it may attract this consumer to purchase more. Next, for fish and seafood, people spend much money in this area, and the consumer think fish and seafood, U.S. fish and seafood is also good because they are grown in the area that is without pollution and toxins. But some people concerns about the freshness of fish and the imported fish and seafoods, because these elderly consumer, they used to cook steamed fish in their meals at home, and they concerns about the freshness of the fish very much. Yeah. So for this type of products, we suggest the operators can also introduce a recipe that to help the consumer to adopt U.S. fish and seafood products in their meal, and they should keep concerning this fish and seafoods were grown in a very pollution-free environment, and it was organic. Next, please. And for these 4 types of product, nuts, eggs, meals, and fruit preps, people are also spending high amounts. It is also preferred by the consumers. Yeah, for egg, people like U.S. egg because it is large in size and it's a good bargain. While some people said, compare with eggs in other countries such as Japanese egg and Thailand egg, it lack some egg flavor. And nuts, for nuts, people's like is chewy texture, and people think there is a large variety of U.S. nuts, and in this research, it did not record major shortcomings about the U.S. nuts. And for food prep such as pasta, cereal, and soup, people think it is grown in the area that do not have pollution, and the crops contains less pesticide, so it's healthy to consume, and there's a much variety for the consumers to choose. And for dairy product, some people said it contains very strong milky taste, and it's grown in natural and organic environment, while some of the consumers worry the U.S. dairy product may contain less nutrition compared with dairy products from other countries. Next slide, please. Yes. Yeah. In the survey, we also asked about the channel from which they purchase the food. So it is not surprising that most of the people purchase the food material from wet market and the 2 key supermarket chains. And then, yeah, in this research, we find some department stores such as Yatta, Aeon, and City Supers are also very popular among these mature segments. And especially when we analyze the data by income subgroup, we find that much more people from high spending group patronize Aeon, City Super, and Yatta. And we combine the findings of from the focus group. We find that people like these departments like to purchase food from this department store because these places can offer a one-stop shopping experiences. Because these consumers are in their elder age, they do not want to travel to multiple places to purchase their food, so they prefer one-stop shopping. And as this department store is very large in scale, they can offer so many kinds of food materials and even many merchandise that is other than food, so they can purchase everything in one place. So that's why these places are so popular among these mature consumers. And in this research, we also find these people prefer purchase the food in the physical store, and they still have not adopted a habit of online purchase because they think that they want to touch the food stuff. They want to really taste it because in the department store and supermarket, there may be some promoters offering the sample for the testing, so they will know the exact quality of the foodstuff. So that's why they still don't like online shopping. And about the source of information, next slide, please. And about the online, the channel for of information. Yeah, when we analyze the finding by age group, we find that people in from age of 60 to 69 have already adopted social media. Yeah, some participants in the focus group mentioned that they use social media every day, and for example, they will use YouTube to view different kinds of programs, channels about food, and about the way to cook the food. So and they said they were inspired by the recipe, by the ways of cooking that is shown in these channels. So social media may be a good way to promote the food ingredients, yeah, for the future. And it is good to use the social media and promote the food in a program, because people know how to adopt the food ingredient in their diet. In the focus group, some of the participants I mentioned, they will not choose the ingredient when it is too complicated to cook at home. So if they can enjoy the process of cooking, if they can enjoy the process of adopting the food stuff, this we believe that it could attract them to consume and buy more. Yeah. Next. In the survey, we also asked about the preference for the dining out, and we have provided them some options and asked them the importance of these options. More than half of the respondents think location is the most important criteria, and this followed by word of mouth, price, cuisine, origin, and the last one is nutrition fact. People think that the origin of the food ingredient may not be so important for the selection of a restaurant or a place of dining, because they regard dining out as a kind of social activity, so they will concern if the restaurant is easy for them to go there. It's easy for them to meet their friends and talk to their friends, and as these people also want to also keen to try new food stuff and new food stuffs and cuisine, they will be attracted by the cuisines and the ways of cooking when they choose the restaurants or place of dining. So is the country of origin still important for the restaurant selection? It can be important, because it still can be important, because in the focus group, respondent mentioned that if they have tried some food, if they had some bad experience in the restaurant, if they had a bad experience with certain kinds of certain dishes, they will concern the origin of the food. And yeah, so it is the origin of food may be of low importance for the selection of restaurant, but it is still important because the importer and exporter may need to cooperate with quality food operator when promoting their food products in Hong Kong, because we should avoid to give the bad experience about the food ingredients to the consumers. Next. Yeah. We asked what kinds of cuisine they prefer, and more than half of them prefer Cantonese. And we have also asked a follow-up question about which country of origin of food they are expected to be used in this cuisine. And in Cantonese, and among Cantonese cuisine, yeah, for 25.8% of people prefer Cantonese cuisine, said they would prefer using U.S. ingredient. So it means some opportunity for us to promote the food ingredient with the cuisine, because yeah, U.S. food ingredient such as beef, pork can be easily applied to the very different kinds of Cantonese cuisines that that will be consumed by this consumer day to day. And yeah, we asked which kind of ingredient they prefer to be applied in the cuisine. And most people mentioned beef and beef product, fruit and pork products. Yeah, and yeah, there's still many people said they would prefer eggs, nuts, fruit, perhaps. Yeah, dairy product, poultry, juice, and fresh vegetables. So to conclude, in this research, we find that the mature well-off consumer has some characteristics that we should take special attention to when promoting the U.S. food ingredients. They are the key persons of food purchase, and they very much concern health and food safety when purchasing food. They are not conservative to the new products, and they have a good perception of U.S. food, so that is an advantage, and they like Cantonese dishes most. So we can make use of Cantonese dishes to promote U.S. product. And about the best prospect products, there are the 6 key types of products with the best prospect, including beef, fresh fruit, pork, poultry, fish, and fresh vegetables. And when promoting the products, we may need to address their concerns that may be potentially draw them away from buying these products. Next. And yes, so as for the recommendations, as we find that people prefer one-stop experiences, so it is a must to promote the U.S. food products in key supermarket chains as well as Yatta, Aeon, and City Super. Yeah, because these department stores were popular among the mature affluent consumers. And social media is also an important channel, especially for the younger group. That means 60 to 69 years old. And it is expected that this trend it means the importance of social media will persist, and it will only be more and more important in the future. And by social medias, and we may consider to organize some channels and make some cooking programs through social media, because the cooking program may may provide the information and the recipe that could help the consumer to adopt the food ingredients. And for the last recommendation, we can also make use of Cantonese cuisines that US food and ingredients may be easily be applied to it. The importer may consider to cooperate with the restaurants and produce some cooking program that can help to promote the ingredient with the Cantonese dishes they may consume that in their daily diet. So yeah, that's all for the presentation today. If you guys have some questions, you can just free to ask, and I will try to explain more in the details. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Derek, thank you so much. It was incredibly informative. So I'm hoping that people out there do have some questions for Derek. You can either raise your hand or speak now. Jeff Coy?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Very interesting research. I may have missed it, but was there at any point you asked a question about country of origin and how often people check for country of origin in various product groups? In other words, some people are going to say, oh, this is American wine, but they're probably much less likely to say, oh, these are American onions. Is there a great difference in product category as far as awareness of or sensitivity to country of origin?
Yeah. In this research, we have asked what the consumer concerns when they choose a food product, and much of them concern about the food, concern the price, and how people evaluate the product. So the country of origin is of relative lower importance in the food selection. But sometimes if they concern, this study also find that safety is somewhat linked with the country of origin. So Yeah, so we believe origin is moderately important for this group of consumers. But in this study, we did not assess the importance of different factors among different kinds of products.
Okay, understood. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Derek, this is Sire Lee from the USA's Poultry Council. I would like to have a question about eggs. Since China is the largest supplier of eggs to Hong Kong, I wonder if the group has any mentioning about their perception on Chinese eggs. Thank you.
For the perception of Chinese egg.
Yeah.
Okay. In general, this consumer regard products from Chinese of much lower quality. Yeah, especially the people from higher income group. That means the higher the income group, the people would think the products from China is of lower category. And on the other hand, they believe the products from European countries and US to be much higher in quality. So for eggs, we believe it follows the same trend.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Derek? Sylvain? Let me see. Yeah, if you can unmute yourself, Sylvain, and then ask your question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
I would like to see, do you ask the participants about social media preference? Is, most of them use Facebook, or they like to watch video more on YouTube now? Do you know the preference?
From the survey finding, of course, among the 500 people we've interviewed, there are more people use Facebook than YouTube. But in the focus group, we find that the potential of YouTube is very, very large, because in YouTube, we can display the promotion in a video format. They like the content shown in the YouTube, and they are even inspired by this content. On the other hand, although more people use Facebook, but in the focus group, we did not hear the comments about how the people, they were inspired from the content of Facebook. And so I think in terms of importance, YouTube, we cannot neglect. At least it is of the same importance as Facebook.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, Amy, do you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Amy.
Hi, Derek. This is Amy from ATO. I have a question. It's on your presentation on page 6. You mentioned that the spending on food purchase is around 4,000 something monthly. So this is for food purchase. Is it including the spending in the restaurant?
It is not included.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it means that it's only for purchase the food, right?
Yes, it's only purchase food and beverage.
Oh, okay, so this is the for the a family, or is for individual, for one person?
It's only it means the spending power of that person. The respondent, the respondent can, after they buy the foodstuff, they can share with the families.
Okay.
The 4,700 means how much that respondent have spent.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
This can answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Carmen?
Yes, hi everyone. Hi Derek. I'm Carmen from American Pistachio Growers, and I also have another question regarding the social media part, because I remember that you suggest that in the future we might use more social media to promote food products, and I assume that might referring to finding some influencers or KOL to promote the food products. And do you have any suggestion on what kind of KOL or influencers we should choose? For example, does consumers have any preference on what kind of KOL they prefer? For example, do they follow more like organic or down-to-earth influencers, like some local mothers, or like for influencers that have fewer followers, compared with mass KOL like celebrities or well-known people that have a large group of followers? So do you have any suggestion on like what kind of influencers is the best to promote food products? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions. From the comments, I remember they mentioned some celebrity that is much approachable. Maybe, for example, Fei Ma and Ding Ye, something like that. They like the cooking program in the TV recently, actually. So it may be good to invite the KOL that is similar to the Asian background, I think. Yeah, so it is more easy, and most importantly, this KOL should cook the dishes that they can be cooked at home, and so that they can use the ingredients easily. Yeah, that will trigger them to buy it.
I see. Thank you for your suggestion.
Yeah, you're quite welcome.
Thank you, Carmen. Annie, I think we'll do the last question, and then after Annie asks her question, if you do have others, please feel free to ask me or my office, and we can translate them or get them to Derek for answering later on via email. Okay, Annie?
Hi, Derek. My question is along the line with Carmen and Amy, actually. So first of all, I remember you mentioned that social media is as important as traditional media. So I'm wondering, is there a traditional platforms that you think is more important than or more effective than the other ones? Like, for example, like print media or like newspapers or some other, as you mentioned, like TV channel. I'm wondering, did you have a chance to listen to the group or from the survey which traditional media is being more effective? That's question number one. Number two is about these elderly group. I believe a lot of them are living with their families. So I'm wondering if family members influence their decision on buying. Like, for example, if the Generation X or the millennials or the younger groups actually would give them opinions or would be a factor that they consider when they make their food purchase decision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions. About the effectiveness of the traditional channels, TV maybe. TV is if you have the budget to do so, it is very important because as I said, a cooking program can trigger the adoption of ingredients, and in the focus group, I remember these elderly people still have, some of them still have the habit to read newspaper, and especially the free newspaper that this is distributed in MTR station, that kind of newspaper, and they said they will be attracted by the food advertisements, especially those the whole page advertisement. Yeah, as you may know, as maybe Eons and Yata may have some something like a food festival, maybe US food festival, Australian food festival, and they will have whole page of food advertisement. This kind of advertisement can attract people's attention because they want to know which kind of food is the most value for money. They will compare the price. Yeah. So if they know which one is the most value for money, they will have that in mind. And when they encounter the food stuff, in the department stores or supermarket, they will have that impression. Oh yeah, I have read in newspaper. This is a good bargain. I will buy it. So this newspaper advertisement could be effective. Could be an effective method. And to your second questions, would they be influenced by family members? I would say yes, because they, as I said, many of them purchase food on behalf of their family members, and they will take care of the preference. Yeah, they will remember, oh, my children like this, and my grandchildren like this kind of food. So they will buy for them. But on the other hand, they also concern the safety of food. Yeah, because they may read a lot of news, they receive information from different sources, and they know they may be sensitive. For example, one of the respondents might say, avoid buying everything from Japan because there was a nuclear disaster in Japan. So yeah, everything from Japan may have radiation. Yeah. So they will not buy everything from Japan. Yeah, they will have these two kinds of the balance of difference of considerations. They will take care of the preference of the children, and on the other hand, they will evaluate the choice from the knowledge about the food safety. Yeah, I hope I can answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Derek. We really appreciate it. Well, I'll give you a round of applause, but I know everyone else is on mute, so thank you so much. We learned a lot from your research, honestly, and I know everyone will appreciate all the findings you presented today. So
you're welcome. You're welcome. I welcome other question. You can send me the question by writing.
Perfect.
Email. That's okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Derek. All right, and everyone, thank you for joining Derek's presentation. And now we're going to transition